Hey, get back to the full screen. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Flash Hour. If you're new here, we appreciate you joining in on our live stream that we do every single Monday at 4 p.m. UTC, where we cover what is going on in the trenches. Just as everybody funnels in. Hey, Tom, good morning. GM. And we also go through, what is new here at Flash Trade, what has happened this week, I should say, what we got done, as well as what's coming down the pipeline. This is our way of giving back to the community, making sure that we are being as transparent as humanly possible and keeping the community informed. Now, if you are now just joining the stream, if you would not mind, leave a like, leave a comment, repost, do all the usual social media things so the social media overlords get us out there into the wider ecosystem so that more people can learn about the Flash Trade platform and we get more traders, more LPers, and more people to congregate in our Discord channel. If you are not aware, we do have a Discord channel. I know a lot of you are not in there who use the platform. Would be nice to see you in the chat and to interact with the broader community. Other than that, let's get started. How did I end up on slide 6? There we go. GM, sir.
Good morning. I think I noticed something. I see a bit of lag on your end, Max. When you're speaking, it kind of lags out a little bit. It's not just smooth out streaming, but yeah.
Really?
Just my
Okay.
observation. Yeah. You can obviously check the playback once, and then you can define what happened. But yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second here. Well, let's move into state of the trenches.
Sure.
And I will try to fix this while you talk about state of the trenches.
Yes. First things first, we had a very, very interesting note from the Fed chairman himself talking about the pressure that he's getting from President Trump. It's a very, very interesting space, interesting things happening overall in the world of finance, where politicians are basically pushing independent, central bank system to lower the interest rate so that they get more, I think, more become more favorable for their audiences, which is sort of not good because the way the interest mechanism works, if you are like the adjustments that the Fed does, the outcome is not, it does not happen immediately. The outcome shows over longer periods of time. So if any politician comes in and they start to tweak things in the central bank interest rates, there will be bigger consequences. And I think for those reasons, we are seeing precious metals like gold and silver going up because there is so much uncertainty in the markets for all sorts of investors to put their money in, and people are not much confident in dollar because of the situation that we're talking about, where the central banks are no longer seen as an independent authority, and they seem there is an idea of influencing the central banks. And then the problem that there is, like, if they are not the independent authority, the whole fiat system itself becomes really I would say airy overall, where you don't have any confidence in what is going on with your own money. So yeah, I think that is the reason why we are seeing this all-time highs on gold and silver every day since I think it's been more than a year now that we are seeing an all-time high. And then I think overall we've also broken records overall in silver, where it's up more than 150% in the last 6 to 8 months. So I think that is what we are seeing across the markets. And even at Flash, we are focusing more on real world assets, which bring on real world utility. And then that is the reason why we have gold and silver, and we are fully punching in that direction to give participants advantage, and then let them have that exposure to these precious metals markets. Are you there, Max? Hope I am audible.
Oh, I apologize. I muted myself. How's it now? Looks better.
Kind of, but overall there is a bit of lag. But
Okay,
I think we'll fix it
we'll
in
work
the
it
next
out.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, so silver hits the all-time high of 85, and that is definitely a milestone for silver, but it also points to like broader market instability. So not super awesome, but at the same time, I mean, this is was bound to happen with the kind of the way that geopolitics have been going lately. Solana ETF filings for Morgan Stanley. Overall, Solana ETFs are having a massive boon. We are seeing, I think it's over $1 billion now in inflows, which is really surging on chain. You can see everything from stable coins to RWA markets are just exploding. So Solana as an ecosystem right now is one to keep an eye on. And obviously we're all here, so we know. But yeah, then you've got BTC and ETH that are actually having net outflows. I think we covered that last week, but it's super interesting to see how Solana is just absolutely crushing it. And there is more institutional demand with those, more and more filings are coming in. There's other institutions who have expressed interest of filing ETFs as well. So. And then first state in the U.S. to issue stable coins. So, and this is on Solana too. So it's Wyoming. We might see a broader trend of this. I'm not 100% sure. Wyoming's kind of the if you're in the States, you would know Wyoming is kind of like the blockchain state. They're the first ones to pass laws around crypto and blockchain and BTC. They're really the I think Cynthia Loomis is from there, so she's kind of a huge Bitcoin bull as well as just blockchain enthusiast in Congress. So she's that's her state, and they're really moving forward with that. Play Solana, they're being delivered. So I saw that all over the timeline. Just wanted to call that out. If you have a Play Solana, super interesting. I'm not really a video games guy, but super interesting product for Solana to kind of showcase the speed and what can be built right on top of Solana as far as like NFTs and gaming. So gaming was not a highlight though at Breakpoint. I'll tell you that. That was strange. Was that just me? That was weird, right? Because like the year before it was huge.
Yep. I think like this was my discussion since day one, that I never saw gaming using blockchain as a good thing, because when you are playing games, speed matters a lot, and overall the experience, by merging that speed and digital experience, putting it on blockchain never made sense to me overall. So yeah, I think that's how it has played about, and we are seeing kind of low participation on the gaming side for the blockchains as of now. And overall, I think it's more if you have read what Solana blockchain was all about, it was just to build a trading engine which is permissionless, where any developer who's capable can build a permissionless market and access unlimited capital and allow anyone to trade against anyone. And that's what is happening, and that is what is basically accelerating overall, be it shitcoins or real world assets. All of them are in a sense tradable asset, and that's what Solana is here, and we all are building towards, basically making a platform where people can exchange their offerings irrespective of what offering that is.
Yeah. I think I know Anas is overall bearish. I have a different take, is that they just haven't really got it right yet. I definitely see NFTs and gaming being something in the future, but in its current state, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It slows the game down quite a bit. Also offers the thing I really like about NFTs and gaming. Again, I apologize if I'm not a gaming guy, so if I get lingo wrong, that's on me. But the big thing with the NFTs is that the items in game can then become a market, like an actual market, not just like a Fugazi, kind of like gold trading back in the day on, was it RuneScape? I don't know if you remember those days. I actually played that, which kind of shows my age, but RuneScape was awesome. But this way, the NFTs can, and the items in game can actually be scarce for real this time. So that is one way I do see NFTs, but everything else, I just don't really see why it all has to be on chain. NFTs on chain makes sense. Everything else just kind of go after the regular game. RWA growth on Solana in January is up already 325%. So that's bonkers. That shows real PMF. And obviously, we've seen that as well with our adoption of the Remora markets. Remora markets is actually number 2 pool by utilization if you check our analytics page on,
Utilization and TVL.
yeah, and TVL. If you check our Dune page or our top ledger page, either one of those will clearly show that the RWAs are here to stay, and they're being quickly adopted, mainly because it allows for broader market access and not, segmenting or gating it off from certain individuals to access, which is amazing. I mean, that's kind of the crypto dream. 24/7, 7 days a week, available worldwide. Solana Mobile is coming out with their SKRTGE. Bearish, bullish? Thoughts?
I have no thoughts on it. I just know the date. It's 21st January where the token is launching. And it's a different token that is from Solana Foundation. People are really puzzled about this thing where, it's very hard to comment why a physical device needs a token attached to it. But you never know what Toli does. And we are just sitting here to understand what is going to come from it. But yeah, overall, see, the tone behind everything is like anything that generates revenue needs to have a token. So if there is an angle of Seeker or the upcoming devices from Solana Mobile generating more revenue, then a token would make it much more easy for them to grab more market share. But until then, it is yet to be seen if a physical device needs a token.
Interesting. The my take on SKR is why not? It is puzzling. I'll admit that, but at the same time, I mean, just being honest here, there's a lot of puzzling tokens out there that I'm really not sure why they exist. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what kind of, because the foundation is involved, because it is, Solana's flagship mobile phone. I'm excited to see what happens with the token. Of course, I have a Seeker phone, so I will be getting part of that airdrop. And interesting to see what comes out of it. But other than that, not too many opinions yet until it launches, until what I see they're what they're going to do with it and how it kind of integrates into the broader ecosystem that they're trying to create. All right, flash overview. So AUM limits increased on pool 2. So basically, we're just allowing for more deposits. And I believe we increased it from 1 million to 3 million. Was that it?
Yes.
Okay. And then we did just launch BNB today. It is live if you are unaware. And the interesting part is this is going to be essentially utilizing our flu mechanism. So on the back end, it's nothing that you would see or need to worry about, but this is utilizing our new Margin Engine V2 launch phase 2 flu. So flexible lock utilization with up to 50x leverage to start. I'm sure that could possibly change in the future, but 50x is a good start. Anything to add to that?
I think we are the only platform right now that offers BNB at 50x leverage on Solana. If you check other platforms, you cannot find any good platform. Yeah. So And also the fees is quite low overall on Flash. I'm not sure if people have taken notice, but we just offer most of our liquid pairs at 4 bips fees, which is actually lower than hyperliquid as well if you are
Yep.
comparing the market orders. So if you are to trade, take a market order on other exchanges, the fees is kind of high. Even on Binance, the market order fees is about 10 bips. And until unless you have access to the VIP accounts or you stake X amount of BNB, you pay very high fees. But on Flash, irrespective of you staking or not staking, you can just come in and access our perps at the lowest possible fees, which is the power of decentralization, is what I would say. But yeah.
Yeah. And if you pay more fees over time on Flash than any other platform, I'll shave my head. All right.
Wow. Lovely. Lovely.
I messed my head all up. All right. What did we get done this week at Flash?
Yep. I think it's a continuation of the backend improvements that we have been doing overall. This is basically the work is being done because the roadmap itself introduces a lot of assets, and this, if you have more assets, you'll have more
Yep.
memory issues on the front end and back end itself,
State
because when
management.
yes, when you're serving more than 100 to 200 assets, it's a very different deal overall. So we are continuously working to upgrade our whole backend structure, where uh, because it is all built on a previous architecture which was good to support at least 20 assets. We are already at 26 assets right now, and this is a very big backend overhaul that we are working on, and it is I think it's our almost second week of the upgrade that we are working on. But yeah, very great improvements overall, and I'm sure a lot of people who are using Flash can even notice that, even if you're
For
trading
sure.
on mobile or a desktop, the things have working very fast, and they are expected to be more faster as we progress with the improvements that we're doing on the backend. And this all comes aligned with the margin engine full deployment as well. So yes. And the next thing is currently we are doing a very deep analysis on the funding rate mechanism, which is the phase 3 of margin engine v2, and the final phase, which basically introduces a very new and novel mechanism on Flash, where we would remove the margin fees that we have right now and introduce a funding mechanism which basically is settled peer to peer between longs and shorts. Pool does not participate in that process, and then according to the skew of the markets, the funding rate would be determined, that is being paid from longs or paid to short or vice versa. So
Mhm.
what we are essentially doing right now is we are taking all the trades that has happened on Flash and then swapping the margin fee mechanism with a new funding rate mechanism, and overall analyzing how it affects the LPs, traders, and the protocol revenue. It's a very huge project that we are currently doing in order to make sure everything is analyzed and we have full deeper understanding of what happens. So yeah, this is currently, it's actually done as of now. We've done it in the past week. Right now we're just analyzing the results with the all the engineers that we have and following up with any important questions or any important stones that we have left unturned from the analysis. And then the next phase would be basically deploying the funding mechanism on Flash's margin engine that we have live, and completing the v2 deployment, which is a very big undertaking that we have done so far. And we are very happy so far. There hasn't been any issues, and everything has gone buttery smooth, every trade and everything. And actually the volumes and the revenue have slightly increased overall since the v2 deployment, because traders are finding their trades much cheaper, and even the liquidation being much lower. It basically is incentivizing more trading activity on Flash. and even the
Yeah.
TVL growth has also been very good in that stance. So we are very happy with the feedback that we're getting as we are deploying the V2 margin engine V2. And yeah, the second thing, the third thing is, yeah, basically the phase two of margin engine has fully deployed and it's live right now, and that is why BNB is listed. And we also have silver that is also live, which is backed by gold that we have in pool 2. So yeah, the full V2 deployment is live. It was a huge task, as I said before, where we basically had to swap out things and swap in while the engine is running, and basically
Yeah.
have no downtimes at all. And yeah, we basically had no downtime overall. I think it was just about 5 minutes or so of downtime, all the while people were holding their positions during those periods of upgrade. So yeah, overall, the engineering team has done a phenomenal job by understanding how to make things, basically improve things on the fly. And yes, yeah, it's a very interesting achievement overall. And the next thing is the ephemeral rollup deployment, which is also under works as of now. Basically, there is a bit of difference in the way account structures are handled, because ephemeral rollup is its own environment, while Solana is an environment where
Big time.
ephemeral rollup tries to keep updating the state on the mainnet. So I think you can also let in Zoheb if he's available.
Oh yeah.
Max,
Sorry, I apologize.
yeah.
That's right. He's sitting down there. Sorry,
Oh my
Zoeb.
God.
I apologize. He's just been chilling. That's my fault.
Hey
Uh,
everyone.
little context on the ephemeral.
Yes. Yeah, I think Zoheb
Oh yeah,
has is best suited
we are
to.
here.
Yes.
Absolutely. Quick context there. We have got to the final reviews of the implementation, architecture, and everything, and we're at the pace where we want to start plugging it into the UI and just observe how the whole UX spans out. So it's been a sprint, and happy to have all of the interactions and the underlying program architecture finalized and deployed. So that's really looking good. And yeah, as we listed the BNB markets today, we just realized we are at the limits with our transaction sizes at 63 accounts. So yeah, we are literally pushing it to limits now. And while we wait for the SIMDs like forever, we do have the ER implementation up for grabs where there are literally no limits. So it's an exciting time where everything keeps evolving. and and yeah, I think we do have a lot of news, a lot of new markets evolving, a lot of tokenizations or interesting tokenizations in the process, and we are here to support all of it. Um, I think we haven't spoken about the gold utilizations being high on pool two, which is just a predicament of how FLU spanned out. Silver is at all time high. Gold is at its all time high. Pool two is
Yep.
supporting uh, exemplary volumes across these markets. NFLU has proven itself on that regard. And I think BNB and Pool 1 is just getting started. So finally, all of the mechanisms we've spoken about for so long are live, and we've seen good reception. And I think we're just going to take it 10 times forward by having it all on ephemeral rollups with lower latencies. So everything is coming along. And, yeah, uh, a week from now, I think we should be having a lot more to share on the ephemeral rollup integration and how the rollout plan looks like and what kind of challenges we see in terms of migrating over to this brand new architecture.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. The big thing here with what we got done this week is the ephemeral rollup is obviously in DevNet. I know Zahab and the team have been testing it thoroughly. We definitely want to make sure that everything is there. There has been some hiccups. I think that's mainly with uh, what is it? I can't remember what we were talking about. It was basically to do with the pool on the main net and then the trading on ephemeral. What was the hiccup there? I can't remember.
Like issues like double spending and the idea of like having non-atomic transactions, which or like currently atomic transaction that needs to be split up. Let's say adding liquidity. It's simple because it's bringing in new liquidity to the pool. But let's say when you're trying to remove liquidity or settle your profits, now that is going to take away capital from the pool. So what happens first? Do you kind of update the state on the ER or do the transaction and transfer it on the base chain or mainnet as for reference here. So we had like these
Yeah.
trouble where um, the the custodianship is retained on base chain and mainnet. So you have all the security implications of being a native Solana program. But then there's always this case of synchronizing state. You have to commit and you have to undelegate accounts before you can modify them on base
Hmm.
chain or commit them and modify them on the ER. So we had to make sure the architecture records each and every step and kind of go over and iterate nonce approaches or kind of having like fixed timestamp. People should not be able to spoof the system and like lock up liquidity. So all of those things is like consensus problems with distributed systems now that you have like split consensus on the ER and the custodial consensus back on the base chain. We are trying to kind of make sure everything is synchronized and yeah, iterate over all of the potential solutions and land onto the best ones. So
Yeah. And
those
Magic Block is a big part
those
of
are
that, I'm
difficult
sure.
problems to solve for sure.
The one thing I
And yeah,
wanted to
happy to have.
also talk about was I think people don't realize like the speed in which it settles back on mainnet. Can you talk a little bit about how fast it actually does go? Because like some people they're so used to like a typical roll up that takes a while to resettle on mainnet. How fast does Magic Block actually with the ephemeral settle back on mainnet?
Right now, at least in the scripts, it's almost instant. It's almost like landing a single transaction that you usually do. So as good as let's say trying to withdraw. Now the bigger case for latency is the whole round trip. Right, when you
Hmm.
request a form of withdrawal on the ER, there is a baked in action which Magic Block teams calls magic action. No surprise there. You kind of do an invocation and then you wait for the ER to respond. That's the highest form of latency that you can have, but that is only for non-critical transaction. Let's say you're trying to withdraw liquidity, then you are expected to kind of have maybe a few additional slots. We're talking of like 1 second or lesser in terms of latency, where the transaction is not atomic. But if you're trying to trade, you already have your capital deposited and you're going to kick in and go and execute a trade. That is ideally going to be less than 40 to 50 milliseconds at this point. And yeah, like there's a lot of difference in terms of how geo-distributed users would have like differentiated experience because validation or delegation to Magic Block is still dependent on your location because there's a propagation delay or a propagation latency between like having to hit a particular endpoint and then you can't literally kind of move state between different validators. So yeah, all of the benefits of co-location kind of come into effect now, but users, the worst thing that the traders are going to see is maybe tens of milliseconds of extra latency. So
Yeah.
for trading, it's super fast. It's much faster than what we've got right now. But for all other
By a
purposes,
lot.
let's say adding or removing we need to work on those. Like those solutions are something which may take a bit more effort, but yeah, our first idea is to get to a functional design and then
Mhm.
like smash on the latency and performance issues as we tackle them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's first make the alpha and then improve on the alpha. Make sure it's all working and then improve on it. So right now we just covered the backend performance improvements. We are crushing bugs, making sure that we upgrade the architecture in general to handle much more assets that will be listed on Flash Trade. Funding rate mechanism analysis, essentially the long and short, so that longs can essentially be against shorts, or when a long comes out and then a short is matched up with it, or against the pool, so it's all being analyzed. And if I'm speaking out of turn, it's because I'm retarded and I'm a janitor. Completion of Margin Engine V2 Phase 2 deployment, which is super interesting. Phase 2 was the flu mechanism. There's a great breakdown on our X page of what flu is, but flexible lock utilization. Essentially, it takes a correlated asset that's already in the pool, and we can open a trade for said correlated asset. So if you have BTC and BNB, very correlated, you can actually take out a trade with the underlying collateral being BTC. So pretty straightforward. And then DevNet deployment of Flash's ephemeral rollup. We are still pushing forward very hard. The dev team is on a prolonged, protracted sprint. This is the longest sprint I've seen. But we are definitely pushing as hard as we can to push. I mean, obviously, if you're on our X page, by the way, if you are on our X page right now, drop a like, retweet, get it out to as many people as possible. If you're on YouTube, we'd really appreciate a follow or subscribe, and then like this video and leave a comment down below for the algorithm. But if you're on our X page, you would definitely see the constant flow of updates that we're delivering, whether it be shorts or some sort of visual that we're trying to push out there so that you stay informed on what is happening on Flash. And with that, let's move into what is coming. This is my favorite section, as the viewers well know. What is coming for Flash? More pairs are coming, and revamp of Pool 3 tokens. What does that mean exactly?
Yep. So pool 3 is our DeFi pool, which basically consisted of all DeFi tokens that are in Solana, the blue chip DeFi tokens such as Jup, Jito, Pet. But lately, due to different situations, many DeFi tokens are not. The price action has been very bad for a lot of DeFi tokens, and I think it's time we basically shuffle up the DeFi tokens pool with better collateral that is more suited for up-only markets, and then using the flu mechanism that we just went live with, give the exposure to the markets that people like to trade as well, so that we make both the participants of Flash Trade happy, which is LPs and the traders. So yes, this is something that we are currently discussing, and we might have this proposal soon on how the redistribution of the pool 3 would be, where we might remove some of the pairs that we have, but using flu mechanism, we will add it back, where with a different collateral backing, you can trade that if you want on Flash, and we won't be reducing the number of pairs, but we would be making the LP pool much better so that people deposit and just earn more money, and that's why we are here.
Exactly.
But
this is definitely not a net negative. It's a net positive, to where you're restructuring the pool so that APYs can be higher, fees can be higher.
Yes.
And then the flu mechanism is the thing that drives all of that in the background. But yeah, it's consolidating the pool, and that makes complete sense now that we have flu.
Yes. I think that is coming next, and the most important and the final upgrade for the V2 is the phase 3, which introduces the funding mechanism, which we believe would basically make the open interest on Flash grow bigger, because finally we will have incentivization for people to take longs or shorts on different markets, because there is a skew of long OI versus short OI. So basically, Flash trades margin engine will pay people to take the other side of the pool, basically open interest that we have, where imagine, for example, if we just take the example of the Sol perp that we have. So you can check right now, we have more longs on Sol than there are shorts. So right now, anyone who opens a long and a short, both of the positions will pay back to the pool for the exposure. But with this new mechanism, what will happen is the longs would pay the shorts, and it would be a 1:1 backing thing. So imagine if there are $1 million worth of long open and $500,000 worth of short, only 500K of shorts would be settled between the two participants, and the rest would go to the pool until and unless if someone comes and takes the exposure of that total amount. And then basically, Flash would be a place where if you see a skew in the market, you would be able to open a trade and take the exposure off from the pool and earn funding fees over it. And basically, this is a very, very novel mechanism overall. No one has tried it yet, and we are very, very confident on how it will react. And even if we basically, as we discussed on the slide before, we are doing a full analysis on all the trades that have gone by on Flash and checking how the outcomes would be. And so far, the outcomes for both traders and LPs seem to be very, very convenient to have this mechanism live, and that's what we are working towards.
Yeah.
And yes. And the next important thing, yes, Max.
The one thing I just wanted to say about the funding mechanism, the thing that I found interesting, and I actually misspoke, I believe last live stream, was the fact that longs pay shorts and shorts pay long. The pool is excluded if that ratio is obviously, perfect, which it won't be all the time, obviously. So the pool will always take, I'm assuming, some small portion of that trade, but there's like a lot of opportunity here for growth on that side, where it comes to maybe, even potentially somebody running ARB bots where they're taking the opposite side of the trade, right? There's definitely an opportunity for that.
Then there is opportunity for even people who are holding spot assets to short on Flash, and they get some funding from it while having their own position hedged on Flash. So this is something that a lot of people do on other perpetuals exchange, and now with the introduction of funding mechanism with the phase 3, people would be able to do that same thing on Flash, which will hopefully contribute to having more open interest on Flash. And more open interest equals to more volume equals to more fees.
Just to clarify here too, the pool, it would essentially make a quasi delta neutral position for your pool as well, right? For the LP holders, would it not? Because then you're also just earning fees.
Yeah. What happens is if the pool has all the assets in it, and if there is all the assets are being utilized on both sides, long and short, the pool essentially has no exposure to the assets, and it's just the fees that it starts earning. And that is where the pool becomes a fully in a position of delta neutral strategy, where it basically just earns off fees, and it doesn't matter if the market goes up or down, LPs will keep winning. So that is what would happen in a fully closed environment where the market is not moving, but things are volatile, traders are different,
Tokens go up and down.
Yes, so it's going to be a very different thing. But overall, what us as engineers, what we do is we analyze and we go through numbers, and we see the wild trades that have taken on Flash so far, and analyze and see what the outcomes would have been if we just swapped the margin fee mechanism that we have right now with the new funding mechanism. And as of now, we are very confident on having positive results on the both sides, and I'm sure it's going to make a lot of money for our LPs as well.
Yeah, it's a win all the way around. Even for the trader too, because then you will be able to be paid if you take the opposite side of the trade. Expanding Forex perps with Degen mode. So this is something we've been talking about for a while that we'd love to do, and that is coming down the pipeline. So excited to finally have Forex with some Degen leverage.
Yes. Uh, this is still under works. The thing that Zub, if you want to highlight that, I think it would be best. The things that we're doing, basically having an inverse of assets, because these assets are dominated in USDC, because these are very low decimal assets.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. This is the classic case of handling non-USD quoted assets, where you have an inverse quote where USD is quoted against these. So the base and quote are flipped in terms of these markets, especially for Forex. So imagine trying to quote INR against USD or JPY. The price wouldn't be um, as readable as it is when you kind of invert those. Imagine like having the price of bonk, for instance. Um, it's way too small, or the decimal support for such systems is way too on the lower end. For Forex, how they traditionally operate is having the inverted pair to be quoted. So if you're trying to long JPY, you should be actually shorting USD JPY. So you're shorting USD against JPY in order to long the underlying. So overall, what we had to do is, because all of our systems had a classic dependence on the notional values, because we are not a peer-to-peer settlement. We have the pool-to-peer settlement to actually go in, identify the notional value of all of the assets on the pool, and also take up the unrealized P&L to compute the final equity. In that form, we had to figure out ways to make sure trading remains unaffected. Like you still be using the same market, which is USD JPY. But when we go and compute the unrealized P&Ls and compute the pool equity, we need to be able to kind of have the right notional value represented for all of the accounting purposes. So that's another interesting problem we're trying to fix with the pricing engine. So that's the next step for us. One, like as we nailed margin engines V2 deployment, now we have the pricing engine improvements coming forth, and this is like one of the first improvements that you'll see with that change. And the other changes on the pricing engine also include reducing the latency further. I think that's another thing that actually went in, where now we have the frequency which is double than what we were operating at. So now we have slightly lower latency in terms of price updates, which is going to be better for traders and for LPs, not being susceptible to um, people trying to front run Oracle updates. So pricing engine improvements in general kind of allow us to lower fees, have better options for traders to come in and operate. And all of these improvements kind of align to the same idea, where we'll be able to extend our asset offering to a lot more. And with inverse pricing, I think Forex is going to be back in focus, because we'll literally have only two pairs now, and there's an ocean of Forex markets which people will be
Yeah,
interested in.
for sure.
So trying to bring that on.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think that's a good way to put it. An ocean of Forex pairs. Yeah, there's a ton that obviously people love to trade, and we'd love to bring that to Flash Trade. And then we had talked about previously that degen mode at 500x for Forex. It's actually kind of crazy because there are platforms out there, because the price moves so slow or just has such minor ticks in different directions. They actually have like 1,000x. So interesting. Spot order books powered by Manifest coming soon. We had teased that out a little while back, probably like a month ago, I believe, with a post. So, what is the latest update with the Manifest order books?
Yes, this is something that it's bit. We paused it before because there was some issues around the SDK of Manifest, but I think that has been solved, and we had to build the whole UI on our swap page, which would basically show you order book for all your favorite pairs, and you would be able to put limit orders free of cost on through Flash on Manifest, and then get them executed as the price approaches the trigger order.
Hmm.
So yes, the TLDR for this is basically we will be offering free limit orders on any pair. And the interesting thing is Manifest is integrated across all the aggregators, be it
Hmm.
Jupiter, Titan, or even the DFlow API. So as soon as the price of any asset comes to your around your limit order that you have set, it would fill that order, because these aggregators would, if they get any code for it, they will fill you on Manifest. So I think this would basically unlock free LO limit orders on spot.
Let's go.
And yes, that's what we will be introducing very soon, and it's
Yeah, it's
undercoming.
super awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
very, very, very cool. Interesting unlock there with just discovering a little bit of tech, right?
Yes.
Anas, you're the one who discovered that. So, but one last thing I just wanted to say. Obviously, thank you all for watching. But one last thing that I wanted to say is, if you got your Seeker phone, see, there's my Seeker phone. We do have the Flash Trade platform as or on the DApp store, so easy to download. And then we also have on your phone here, as I try to silence my updates. Boom! Look at that; it's beautiful, right on my phone.
Seeker.
So Seeker and PWA. So PWA is just simple. On iPhone, you can do it from Safari, not from Chrome, not from Brave, but it's from the Safari browser. And then on Android, super easy. Use your browser. It can download. iPhone's a jerk. They only allow you to use Safari. But yes, other than that, did you guys have any other updates for the community? Anything else that you'd like to add, Zahib or Anas?
Yeah, I think I would say stay on lookout for all the things that we are working at. There is so many things that are coming overall. So yeah,
Yeah.
follow us on X and keep an eye on the Discord's updates and announcement channel. Overall, things are getting much more smoother and much more useful and much more better than what we have overall. So yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Anas, did you, or Zahib, did you have anything to add?
No, not much else, but keep an eye out on the Flash Labs channel in Discord as well. Maybe something's
Yes.
coming soon.
Ooh, that was a good one. That was a spicy one.
All right.
This is true. We will
All
have
right.
some things there for you very soon.
Very soon.
All right.
Yeah, see y'all in the chat then. Signing off.
I'll see you. All right. Everyone, thank you so much for attending another Flash Hour. Just some things, some housekeeping here to go over with you all. If you visit the Flash Trade platform, obviously we know the Perps page very well. But did you know there is an earn page? So the earn page here, super simple. We've got 8 pools at the moment. You've got your Remora pool, which is ever increasing in TVL. That's our stocks or RWA. That's awesome. And then we also have our stable pool, which has the XAUT, which is gold. That is the one that we debuted the flu mechanism with. And we have the ever popular FLP1, which its closest, companion there or something to compare it against would be like JLP. So FLP1 is Steady Eddy. definitely outperforming every asset in the pool, which is amazing. And that is outlined on Top Ledger. And of course, we do outline it on X every once in a while. If you do not have any FAF, but you still want to participate in the Voltage Points program or VP, just register. So you don't have to have any stake FAF. It doesn't mean that you get the full breadth of all the benefits of staking the FAF token, but if you register, your participation on the platform still counts. And at the end of the month, which by the way, we have 3 days left. So this is a great time to prepare for next month on the VP program. VP program, super simple, straightforward. The more activity on Flash, the more voltage points you get. And of course, at the end of the month or the end of the epoch, you will receive your FAF rewards from the VP program. Now, if you do decide to stake some FAF, this will give you a bunch of benefits. Obviously, it gives you increased VP points so that you can climb the leaderboard. And there are different levels to that as well. So you've got 1 through 6. Obviously, the higher you go, the better it is, and the more rewards that you will get. But you also get trading fee discounts and referral boosting. The referral boost is very much so worth it. All of your referrals rewards can be claimed here on the dashboard, as well as a breakdown of who is using your referral code. So very, very simple, very straightforward. And don't forget, we have our swap page. Swap page easy button and pro button has been moved for your convenience and from feedback from the community right up here so that you can easily switch to the pro view of the swap page. Other than that, BNB was just listed. There you go. Want to trade some BNB? Here we are. Let's see. All right. Well, thank you for putting up with my banter, of course, from the janitor. I am the janitorial spokesman. You guys, if you haven't yet, jump into our Discord channel. You know, be a part of the community and help us grow Flash Trade. We do seriously take your feedback. A lot of the decisions on Flash Trade are kind of user-driven decisions. If you make a loud enough noise and the community likes it, and we see that you like it, or we see that the community really wants it, we do adopt it on Flash Trade, and we do take it into consideration when designing the platform itself. So get involved in our Discord. The link should be down below. If you're on YouTube, it will be down there. I made sure that it's there. And the link to our platform is there, as well as our docs. If you need any additional information, of course, reach out on Discord, but docs are well maintained as best as we possibly can. If anything is missing from docs, that is my fault. So I apologize for that. Simon, good to see you, brother. Hey, the beauties. I don't know about that. The other two guys might be beauties, but this guy over here got a face for radio. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week at 4 p.m. UTC every single Monday, Flash Hour. I'll see you guys in the markets.